Welcome to DT Madness, Chronicles from the Third Life, episode 92, June 2nd, 2024. So glad you could make it. Good Sunday morning to you all, and happy beginning of summertime for teachers and students. Graduation was Friday night at our high school, and I always enjoy being a part of the setup and the tear down, uh, knowing my responsibility, which this year was to keep people from crossing from one side to the other on the track in the stadium after a certain time, and helping people find their way, um, making sure people didn't trip over cords, from where we had speakers set up. I don't know, I enjoy being a part of that team. I like having an assigned task, and I like performing it. Um, the ceremony it was it was just perfect, for the conditions and the construction that we've got. Um, we've been going through a lot of construction. These kids that graduated have experienced all of that kind of stuff. They were at the tail end of COVID when we first came back, and did like every other day school when they were freshmen, and they've experienced construction in the hallways of redoing our HVAC system, and their their graduation was impacted by it because of the new press box that the stadium is getting, which I'm excited about as I am the voice of the Friday Night Chargers. But um, the where the construction fence is on the home side, they weren't willing to move it, and therefore we lost, I don't know, probably 700, 800 seats on the home side. But we had people on the visitor side, as we always do, and there are people on the banks. But then the way that the stadium was set up, the way that the system, the ceremony was set up, was about half of the football field. People could bring their lawn chairs and sit out there, their camp chairs, and I don't know, a couple dozen people, maybe 50 people did that. Really, just all along the rope line. It didn't go back as deep as I thought it would. Um, but it was, sorry for that notification. We'll talk about the screen time later. But it it was a really nice setup, and I hope that I hope we continue doing that next year, where people can sit on the field. Next year will be a whole different thing for me. But the weather was just perfect, man. It really was. Um, the speeches from the salutatorian and valedictorian, they got me a little bit with a surprise attack. The salutatorian ended her speech by saying, "Remember who you are." These are students of mine for many years. Um, and I gotta read the excerpt from the valedictorian. Rue. She said, "Crest is blessed with great teachers. I was fortunate to have an influential teacher for 2 years. He repeatedly said, 'When I stop remembering what it feels like to be one of you, then I will stop teaching.'" And of course, I knew that was about me, because I always tell my classes that. Usually when they're feeling the struggles, when they're feeling the weight, I'm not one of those teachers that just piles it on and tells them to suck it up, because they're in high school, man, and they've got a lot of things going on, and they've got sports, and they've got dreams, and they've got social groups, and the craziness that comes along with high school social groups, and they've got AP classes left and right, and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying I lower my expectations for them. I have realistic expectations, because I do remember what it's like. Like, I still, in my mind, view myself as a Crest crazy from back in the day. But the way that Rue took that phrase, she said this quote resonated with me, because Let me know that he genuinely sees us for who we are and where we are in life. One of you is an important phrase that says each life is worthy, valuable, and important. We have all failed and succeeded many times. We will continue to grow into the people we are meant to be if we remember who we are. We are good people. His words help me realize that teachers are not only here to teach curriculum, they are here because they have a passion for their profession and genuinely care about our lives. The meaning behind his words is what I will carry with me as I look to my future career. Crest has taught us how to be selfless and care about others. We have learned how to work hard and fight the good fight, be resilient, and make our community a better place. So, yeah, man, I was all misty eyed while they were reading that, trying not to just break down because I didn't know it was coming. Good told me a little bit, like keep an eye out, but it was really beautiful. And as always, like the calling of the names and all that stuff is really good. Sydney was the chief junior marshal, and so she was standing there in her white robe, and she got to set the pace for the marchers coming down. And whew, yeah, next year is going to be a whole thing for me. Like I don't even know. Um, but and me as well. Like beyond just the ceremony, I'm sitting here watching the thing, and I'm contemplating the sociology of the whole event with parents hollering and like it bothers me some. I wish, as long as you stop your hollering and hooting, there weren't any noisemakers. There were no air horns that people had to come through metal detectors this year, and so all that stuff um, was taken care of. But it's and from the very first name, the students dancing across the stage, which whatever. I know TikTok drives a lot of this stuff, taking selfies as they go across. Nobody makes a big deal about all that. Nobody's getting too fired up as long as they don't cause a prolonged distraction for the next person. That's it. It's not about the people hollering. Let them holler. And in some cases, maybe these kids are the first to graduate high school, or there were real doubts about whether they would. Um, so yeah, it is a sociology study for sure. But speaking of graduation, it was 28 years ago for us that I walked across that same stage in that same stadium in Sid Bryson Stadium. The class of '96. We still call ourselves the 96, and we're still rolling strong. This afternoon, we're going to load up and meet up and attend one of our guys' weddings. He's getting married to one of his lifelong friends. They've both had previous marriages that didn't work out, and but man, like it's just a good fit for both of them, and it's just going to be really cool to get all back together again and talk a whole bunch of junk and cut up a little bit. And I just hope I don't take it for granted just how special it is to have a group of guys that have remained so close, for all these years. 96 at 28. 28, man. 30 years is close. That's wild. Speaking of anniversaries, my brother's wedding anniversary. My brother's name is Josh, and his wife is named Ellen, and they met at Davidson College, and got married 29 years ago. I can remember how many years ago it was because I knew that it was right after I was a junior marshal, and I was a junior marshal in '95, and they got married the weekend after that. I'd just gotten my ear pierced, so I know I had my earring in their wedding photos. But the ceremony was really something, and the rehearsal dinner, which was actually 29 years ago tonight, I sent him a text that they it was at the farmhouse, and just man, I just remember it being really really beautifully lit up and all that kind of stuff. And of course, Ellen's college roommates and college friends were there, and there was, I don't know what other kinds of cakes there were, but there was a chocolate cake, and there was a chocolate cake with chocolate icing. And this girl, I want to say her name was Christine. I don't know. I know she had blonde hair. And she was a college grad, or at least perhaps maybe going to be a college senior at Davidson College. And here I am, a delusional 17-year-old, and we both liked chocolate cake. What are the odds? You know? And so probably I got to be in like Raj on Big Bang Theory, where I began to envision our wedding and thought that I really had a chance with this 21, 22-year old at the time. Um, because we both liked chocolate cake. Now we did both eat a lot of it, and it was a giggly, laughy kind of thing. I don't know, man. Maybe I did. You know, I don't know. Maybe I did have a chance. I still like to hold on to those delusions of the 17-year-old. The wedding was white tie and tails, and I think we even wore white gloves, like it was uptown. You know what I'm saying? And it was at I don't know what in Greensboro, but up on the top of something, some taller building. And the wedding was beautiful, and um, the food afterwards, like I don't know, I remember smoked salmon only because I think that was the first time I'd ever had it. But I also remember that they had an open bar, and that Ellen's uncle got me a cosmopolitan. I think that's what you call it. I know it was uh, vodka and cranberry juice. And then afterwards, I just went back to the place and was able to get it my own self, which was dangerous, and fed into more delusions for me. But no, I had a really good time and got a ride back to the hotel where my parents were staying with another of the college roommates. And again, fully thinking this could be the one. This could be the one. 29 years ago. I don't know. The way you view the world, I just, this is kind of an abrupt change. I'm sorry. But I drove out to Boone yesterday. I took up some things to Sam and to see his new apartment, which, whew, man, whew, I mean, I guess I do remember what it's like to be them. And I agree with that quote, that I'll quit my job when I forget what it's. But I don't know, man. I don't remember our college apartment smelling like that. Those kind of stank. So anyway, hopefully they'll continue to clean. But like some mold up on the bathroom ceiling and stuff. They really. Anyway, I wasn't here to talk noise about their apartment, but I didn't stay long. We went to Comeback Shack, and I was able to catch up with Sam a little bit and hear about his job at Daniel Boone Inn. But on the way back home, like I went up 64 through Morganton, and I don't know where else I went, but I wanted to come back that way, but I guess I didn't punch it in the right. I guess I didn't punch in the right thing on Google Maps because I ended up coming back the same way I always do, which is through, or typically do, which is through Casia Mountain and Rutherford College, North Carolina. Not Rutherfordton, but there's a place called Rutherford College, and it's really small. And there was a church sign in Rutherford College, and this church sign got me really thinking. The church sign said that America without her soldiers is like God without his angels. Now, there's a whole lot to unpack there, and that's not what I'm here to do on this church sign here. But but there's somebody out there that really believes that statement is profound and accurate, and put that up on their sign. Not to mention like all the signs going up, Trump, 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 whatever. That's fine. You want to be for the convicted felon guy, that's fine. But then that the signs that say Joe and the hoe must go, those kinds of things. It really just got me thinking about worldview. It got me thinking about what would lead someone to post a sign in that way. Like what events, what situations, what circumstances, what how do you view education? I know that in my field there are people who think that I am involved in brainwashing other people, and placing my worldview on top of them so that they'll see it my way. And certainly, the education is going to affect the way that people view the world. And so, as much as anything, I'm really trying to piece together and parcel out maybe like what is it that has changed in my own view of the world, and I maybe just am curious about what you think. You can always email church of six, the number six, church of six at gmail.com. Um, a thing that has changed, or that is radically changing, honestly, in my own view of the world is body image and this notion that our bodies should somehow be perfect. This message that comes across whatever social media, but media. Um, I, the idea that every other commercial, if not every commercial, it seems like is pharmaceutical commercials that are going to solve every single problem that you have with your body. And while I appreciate modern medicine, I don't mean to take it. I don't want you to take that I'm not, but there is this notion that everything should be perfect, and that when yours isn't, there's a real shame that comes along with it, like really natural occurrences that I don't have to experience for half of the population. Like that becomes a source of, I guess it's always been that way, man. Like if you want to go back to a biblical worldview, like women had to stay outside the camp during their monthly cycle. And so there's a real history, I guess. I'm just thinking about this right now, to body image and the way that we view bodies and those kinds of things. But I think it's something, as Walt Whitman would say, to celebrate, um, to sing the song of myself. Anyway, more things that I'm thinking about. I, Speaking of body image and the image that I want to portray, I need a Crest Charger necktie and maybe a Crest Charger bow tie. And how do I find one of those? I don't see anybody making them on Etsy. They're not on Amazon. I've asked a couple of printers. I'm going to have to go to Bradley's, I guess, see if they'll hook me up with one. But I want to wear a Crest Charger necktie, both to school, but really what I want to do is wear it to my town council meetings. Um, because you know what, when the flags fly, when we put the Charger flags up in town, which we did this past week, that is the most positive that people are of any other thing that happens in our town. People resonate, they identify with our high school more so than they do with the university that's in our town. There's a whole bunch of us that are kind of done with that university, and its current leadership. um, but I got to give me a Crest Charger necktie. So if anybody's got any ideas, church of six at gmail. I did sneak back on Facebook to post about the flags. Um, I sent an email to the staff at Crest to let them know that the flags were flying and to say thank you from the town for what they had done for the school year. And so I was like, you know what? I don't know. I really am not planning on running for mayor again, but there is a chance. There's 10%, whatever. There's still a chance. And so they're part of being in politics is self promotion, and I'm good at it. Um, for better and for worse, take that for how you will. That I'm good at it. But I was like, you know what? I want to let people know, and I want to say thank you to the educators. So I snuck back on Facebook just to post about the flags, all the positive comments, all the positive comments. I only stayed on for a few hours after I posted to check the comments. I didn't reply back to anyone. I didn't like anything. I told them, I said, look, I'm in the post. I said, I'm taking a quick exception for my summer break to post about these flags. Okay. Um, and then at about 7 o'clock that evening, I deleted the app. I only reinstalled it once that night and once again the following morning to check what the comments were, to gain and gather the positivity. And I haven't gotten back on. I'm tempted to post the speech from Rue that she gave at graduation, but so far have resisted. I haven't gotten on Instagram at all since the shutdown. My screen time is down by over a third, like over 33%. my screen time over the past week because of getting off of Instagram and Facebook. The world, speaking of view, like the world seems larger to me as well. I'm not sure I can explain that yet. Could it be that, the allure of being connected in so many ways that social media sells us actually makes life smaller? That as my attention is spread out to all these different places and people and events that are so far away from me that I really am not connected to in any other way. Does that actually make life smaller? Again, I don't know. These are things I'm just now thinking of. Maybe it's just more unified, you know? Um, that my desire to get those little red ones creates these tiny fractures in my worldview and my consciousness. I don't know. I think it's worth a good ponder. I do miss the interactions. I really do miss the interactions. But there's too much of a stark difference in my experience to go back now. So I do want to take the summer and contemplate and analyze how the structures and functions of socials, especially the meta socials, Facebook and Instagram, impact me. And maybe how they impact you. I do have a small release valve in Snapchat. I posted a picture of me and Sarah and Sydney from graduation on Snapchat. I don't really post much on there, and I don't really have many friends there. Um, and I guess, DD Madness here on the Podbean, maybe this counts as social media in some way. But yeah, in the meantime, I've been doing more writing, venturing into the therapy aspect, in particular the EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing session that I experienced. I was able to write that out, flesh that out based off of a painting that I had made. I look forward this summer to continuing to piece together the memoirs of a 46-year-old. I've been reading. I think last time I'd read Real Americans. Maybe I'd read one after that, but I picked up the other book by Rachel Cohn called Goodbye Vitamin, which was her initial offering, and I really liked it. I really liked it. It's about remembering. It's about forgetting. Um, it's like diary format, you know, and it's just a beautiful, smooth, easy, comforting, enlightening, thought provoking. Yeah, it's those things. I really did enjoy it, and um, I'm started Good Lord Bird by oh, let me look here. James McBride. He wrote Heaven and Earth Grocery Store as well as Deacon King Kong, both of which I've read and really enjoyed. So this one is about John Brown from pre-Civil War days. In some ways, it's about a John Brown. I don't want to say too much about it. I'm just barely into it, maybe a quarter. Reading that one, that's probably going to take me a bit. I'll have to take a break next week. Oprah's got a new one out. I didn't realize I just checked just to make sure, and she did have one out. It's called Long Island. I can't remember the author's name. I ordered it, and it's part two, which it says you don't have to read part one to get part two, but I went ahead and ordered part one, and that book is called Brooklyn. And they'll be here tomorrow, but again, that'll be for the beach probably. A little bit of a handyman update as we hopscotch our way towards the end here. My dryer was making some sounds, and I don't know. I saw some things that said if there's lint on the ground outside your dryer vent, and that's not what's supposed to be happening. And it was feeling warm to the touch, and I know all the things about your dryer and all this kind of thing. So I don't know. Like I really cleaned out the lint filter. My lint filter's on top, and so I wrapped a. I watched the YouTube, and it told me how to do it. I wrapped a microfiber cloth around a hanger and like stuck it way down into the top of that dryer vent chute and tried to pull out as much of the lint as I could. I wasn't like a ton. I took the hose off the back and shot the leaf blower down through it so it would clean all the hose out the back. I took the top off the dryer and tried to wipe off some of the lint that was on the outer edges. I think it sounds better. It doesn't seem to be making that sound anymore. So basically, I guess I'm a dryer repairman. I only bumped my head really hard one time during that situation where I stood up and forgot that there were cabinets back there where I was back behind the dryer. That hurt. That really hurt. I said some words. Um, but I can't beat the Virginia Creeper. The Virginia Creeper is a real foe, and it likes to climb on all the things. It's fine as ground cover. I'm cool with that. But now it likes to climb up in my cool little trees, and it likes to climb up the side of my house. the, the, the battle is on, but I do not feel confident. But yes, tomorrow starts AP GoPo grading. Um, I hope I don't have to score the argument essay. I hope I get one of the other three because that will make it a whole lot easier. But regardless, I will be doing training tomorrow online here at the house. And I used to travel down to Tampa to read for AP Psychology. I've never traveled for AP Government. I hope to one day because they go to Salt Lake City and I've never been there. But honestly, I can make more money doing it at home because there aren't limited hours, and I'm at home. So I'll be doing that. I'll be attached to my laptop screen for the next 7 days, as much as I can handle. Um, Hopefully, we'll read somewhere in the neighborhood of 12 to 1500 of the same exact essay over and over and over. So that'll be really something. But it is good professional development. I do have a big town council meeting on Tuesday where we will hopefully pass the budget for the year and deal with some other really important issues like our contract with the Y and other things like that. It could get contentious and it may last for a little while, which is unfortunate because I won't be able to be logged on to my platform to be making money grading AP. But other than that, I will be logged on. I'll be watching the French Open. It's been rain plagued, but they've done a pretty good job keeping it going. And I think the weather's supposed to shape up next week. So we love watching the tennis. I won't be able to read. I won't be able to continue on with the Good Lord Bird until I get done because I'm going to be reading so much that I won't want to read in my off time. But I can still do my coloring. And let me tell you about this. I'm making all the noise here in the Nook today. It's a book called Curious Creatures, a coloring book adventure by Millie Marotta. And it's just got these, man, it's got, what does it say? In her latest book, Millie brings you her own choice of remarkable and fascinating animals to color in. From the adorable macaroni penguin to majestic flying fish. I did the flying fish. From weedy sea dragons to sleepy sloths. Meet Millie's Curious Creatures. And it's just got like a million little tiny different places. And so it's pretty zen for me. And I like to make bold choices. I do like to make bold choices. And so that's what I've been doing with my life here. Well, this has been a Church of Six production, my five plus you. So the six is infinite, you know. Brought to you by the Bucket of Life. Make your ripples. By the Rope of Relationship. The Foundation Tower of Stone. By the Wall of Belief. The Token of Hope. And the Magic Rock times one. One received and one given. Nothing divine is desperate, and in order to be, try to never seem. May all your circumstances serve to awaken compassion, and as you go, teach peace. Don't forget to believe, y'all, and be live. Grace and peace, my friends.